A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining our Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. We are going to be speaking to an array of international guests who will share their knowledge and experiences of homeopathy with you. We will discuss all types of subjects such as remedies, symptoms, and stories of health. No matter where you are with your homeopathic journey, we aim to inspire you on your quest to natural health and living. The podcast is brought to you by Greensmith, the founder of Homeopathy 24/7, which is a global platform connecting you with a homeopath wherever you are in the world, 24 hours a day. So let's get started with today's chat. Please welcome Mary Greensmith.
Hello, thank you so much for joining us. It's so lovely to have you here. And I'm really pleased to welcome Barbara Hanachova. Welcome, Barbara.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Mary.
Now, I am really excited because we have spoken before and you've come and you've done a podcast before, and we didn't talk about the fact that you're a midwife. You have loads of expertise in childbirth, obviously, but also as a lactation consultant. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So, yeah, I've been a midwife for around 20 years. I've trained back home in Czech Republic, and then I've been working in UK since 2009, and mostly in birth centers or home birth settings. That's where my passion kind of sits.
Okay.
And yeah, I've also trained as a lactation consultant first many years ago when I had my second daughter with Lactation that was still in my country, and then when we moved to UK, I've done the international certification, so I'm international board certified lactation consultant. And yeah, I've been working with many families with young babies over the years, helping them with various feeding challenges, and more recently in the past few years, also in terms of the tongue function, tongue ties, and other forms of tongue restriction, and how those impact the feeding and sleeping, and later on even solids and all sorts of stuff, all those colics and refluxes and things like that.
Okay, so tell me, were you a midwife first and then became a homeopath, or were you a homeopath first and then became a midwife?
I was midwife first, but I have come across homeopathy or started using homeopathy before becoming midwife, as it is because of my own children. So I had my first daughter before I started studying midwifery. Yeah, and the second one was born when I was between second and third year of my midwifery training. So we've been always using homeopathy for all sorts of childhood things, even for myself and my husband, herbs and all these things. Back home, we lived in a small village. We had garden, and there were herbs all over the place. So I used to go out with the kids, and we would pick all sorts of stuff, and things like that. My husband calls it witchcraft, but hey, he likes the teas as well.
Yes, absolutely. It's all fine until they actually need help, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have got loads of experience, and of course our audience is going to be really pleased to hear this, because it means that actually somebody who understands that we can do a lot of this naturally, there are things to help us along. So let's first start. Can we go through? Do you mind if we go through from pregnancy through birthing through to lactation? Let's do the whole lot, shall we?
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about pregnancy to start with. When would you start introducing a few homeopathic remedies? What type of thing would we be looking at that homeopathy might be really useful?
Yeah, so it really depends, if the woman has very comfortable, easy pregnancy and she doesn't have any ailments, any complaints, then she doesn't necessarily need any remedies or anything. She just needs to be mindful of her diet. Diet and the overall lifestyle is the key anyway, right? So even if the women come to me with whatever complaints, I always talk to them about diet, because you can't fix, let's say, anemia in pregnancy unless you look into what you're eating. But from the first trimester, often it's all those morning sicknesses and bit of tiredness, kind of fatigue things. Those are the main things, I think.
Okay.
Reflux is another one also in early pregnancy that can trouble a lot of women.
Yeah, of course. And it's a good time for us to just say how safe homeopathy is through pregnancy and childbirth, and of course young babies as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Homeopathy is very safe for everyone. It's not gonna cause any side effects or anything. I would say here, explain the difference between herbal remedies and homeopathy, because herbs, those are the plants that you pick in your garden, in the woods, or buy from like a tea from a store. So that's the crude form. That's the plant itself. And not all herbs are suitable for pregnancy, and they can cause issues in pregnancy. So we need to be really careful with that. But homeopathic versions of these herbs or other homeopathic remedies are very safe. They do not cause any issues in pregnancy, or otherwise they don't cause any side effects. Worst case scenario, they will simply not work. But that's very important to know. So it's very safe to take homeopathic remedies in pregnancy.
Obviously, and it's really important to understand that homeopathy is not herbal remedies. It's
exactly
different. It's completely, they are all our homeopathic remedies are diluted to such an extent that it is just acting as a catalyst for the body to be rebalancing. So we're not actually changing anything itself.
Absolutely. We're just supporting the what we call vital force, or the energy of the person, to kind of rebalance itself, encourage the body, stimulate the body to heal or balance, or do whatever it needs to do, so that the person feels well and strong and energetic in themselves.
Yes, to keep healthy we need energy, don't we? So let's have a look at further down pregnancy, coming towards in the last trimester. Obviously there might be a number of things that are affecting people. How can homeopathy help?
So one of the main things that a lot of women come to me with in the later second trimester, third trimester, is anemia, low iron levels. That seems to be very common these days. And that's where homeopathy can help a lot. We can gently support the body to utilize whatever iron sources they have in their diets much more efficiently, as well as if they do take regular iron supplements prescribed by their midwives or doctors. Again, homeopathy can help the body to utilize these in much more efficient way. Plus, we also have remedies that can help in itself, like tissue salts, like ferrous sulfate, ferrous phosphate tissue salt is very good for these women. Again, they need to work on their diet as well, but tissue salts alongside can help them a lot. Plus all those symptoms that go with anemia, like the tiredness, the weakness, the dizziness, shortness of breath. Again, we can help them with that, to manage it without reaching for other medication. Another very common thing that a lot of women come to me with, especially around this time of the year, are all sorts of different colds, coughs, flus, sore throats, things like that. And they don't want to take over-the-counter medicines because they are worried about the side effects and impact on the baby and things like that. So they a lot of the times want to know how homeopathy can help, because they often know that it's safer and it would not impact the baby in any detrimental way or anything. So again, there are lots of remedies that can help them with sore throat, things like that. One of the most common one is aconite, for example, which is very good, you know, at those early stages of illness like that, to kind of dip things in the bath and help them move through. Ferfos is another one that they can take. They can take them both or either of them, whatever they have. And it's also a good time to talk about remedies in general, like what they might use during birth or after the birth, getting them prepared a little bit. I often talk to them about homeopathic kits that are available that they can get, so that, you know, they have something at home which they can use not just for themselves right now when they have whatever issue they have, but also going forwards, because these remedies, they don't really expire if you store them well, and you can use them for so many different things. When you have the baby, if your baby has fever, teething, upset tummy, colic, you know, whatever, you can still use the remedies from the kit. So that's a really good way of kind of getting into it as well.
So let's just talk about actual childbirth and homeopathy, because as you said, we do have kits available for birthing, and there are so many different things that you might need a remedy for during that process. But it is so important, isn't it, to actually, as well as buying, hiring, borrowing a kit, you actually have a lesson or something that has got a whole set of information about what you might need when, and to actually encourage your partner, your birthing partner, whoever's going to be there,
absolutely,
to have that with
yeah. Well, in terms of the childbirth kits that are out there, I have a bit ambivalent feelings about them. They can be really useful as long as you know about the remedies and you kind of know what you're doing and when to use what. There is not much of a point in buying that kit and then just on the day, you know, this is happening, look through the booklet, pop a pill. It's not gonna work, right? Plus, if you are the woman in labor, you need to focus on that. We don't want you to think about what remedy for. You are supposed to switch up your brain, you know, to kind of let you get in that zone and let your body do whatever it needs to do, right? So I do recommend if women want to have these remedies in labor on a standby, that either they hire a doula or an independent midwife who have some knowledge of homeopathy and can help them with that. There are some homeopaths who are doulas as well, or there are homeopaths who attend births. So that's another option. Or get their birthing partner kind of look into it, do a little bit of reading. There are free courses out there, there are ebooks, there are lots of resources out there that they can read. Even the kids come with little booklets, so read through it, familiarize yourself with the remedies, what they can be used for in what situations, and then the birthing partner should be kind of in charge of that. And if something happens, like the surges, for example, are a little bit slow or weak, then they would look through the booklet and try to identify the remedy, rather than the woman herself trying to figure that out.
Exactly. Yes. I agree to absolutely 100% with what you're saying. And I would say that the little booklets generally aren't enough information.
No.
But I've had a thought that it would be a great add-on to put onto our app, because then it would be available a lot more information just on the phone right when they need it.
Sure.
But
well, at the end of the day, they could as well go onto Homeopathy 24/7 and get that acute consultation there and then, if necessary. Obviously, it takes a bit of time, but again, it could help, you know, if you're going through like a bit longer process, induction or something, and you need a bit of help getting it going or something, it might be a good resource as well. Or having a like familiar homeopath on standby that you could potentially reach to them, depending if the homeopath is happy to be available, like in the middle of the night and things like that.
I know that there are some, but obviously, if we start introducing lots of people to homeopathy, perhaps it is more courses we need for birthing partners, isn't it? It's more initial training so that they've got a lot more knowledge about those remedies, because they are quite a few remedies that we don't use an awful lot in other situations. So you're quite right, because of course, with homeopathy in the actual kits, we don't put information for what they can be used for because it's so individual, isn't it?
Yeah. It is very individual. And, even the childbirth kits, they often have remedies that can be used for like bleeding after the birth, helping to stop it if you're bleeding too much. But again, there are many remedies that can be used, and you need to kind of gauge it to the situation. It's not that all women who are bleeding will take this, right? So it needs to be individualized. That's why you need someone who can kind of see the situation,
see the whole picture,
adjust, kind of match the remedy to the situation. Understand a little bit more than what the booklets are saying. So from that perspective, I also am not really sure whether to invest in a kit like that or not, because at the end of the day, these childbirth kits often have remedies that you would not necessarily use otherwise. And then thinking about maybe getting a bigger home kit that has some of the remedies that are in a childbirth kit that you could use if you need them. But you also have plenty of other remedies that you can use for your child's teething. The childbirth kit may not have the remedy for that, or may not have the remedy for sore throat.
That is a good point, isn't it? But of course, if once you start learning about homeopathy, obviously we want you to learn lots of different areas and whatever you're doing, and it is so useful for us as homeopaths if you've got the remedy there in your house, and you have given it some forethought. So I think perhaps that one's open to debate, isn't it? And we're going to talk about your membership in a moment, so we'll bring that up in a moment. But let's go forward now to baby's been born, and first 6 months there are quite a few remedies that might be really useful for you, mum and baby.
Yeah, definitely. Because, the first 6 months, that's such a dynamic period, Moms go through a lot of changes in their body, that body has to change from the pregnant one to non-pregnant one, all the hormonal changes, the body is kind of settling back to normal, kind of. And the babies, they go through so much development and changes in their own. They grow so much in the first 6 months, right? Like from that tiny 3 kilo on average baby to much bigger 6-month-old who now can move, they can roll, some of them can sit. That's such a huge development, right? So some of them start teething by 6 months, so and then at 6 months they start eating bits of other food than just milk, so that's huge for those babies. They get their first vaccines sometimes, that can bring on fevers and things like that. So, we need to navigate all these things, plus all those colics and refluxes and diarrheas and constipations and whatnot. And if they have older siblings who go to nursery or school, they might be bringing home bugs every other week, things like that. So that's a lot.
It's a huge topic, isn't it? And it's a
massive
huge area. of health changes. And so that brings us really nicely on to your membership, which I know that you are starting, and you've got details on it on your website. So we'll put a link on for that. But obviously, you as one person, as an independent midwife, as a lactation consultant, cannot have thousands of individual clients. So tell me a little bit about the thought process of your membership and how you can help people in a more group setting.
Yeah, so I've had quite busy WhatsApp groups for local, but I've had women from all over the place. One for pregnancy, one for postnatal. And these groups were very busy, and we've been, there were questions every day, morning till evening, constantly about different issues. But the problem was that, often I had to repeat the same thing, because when person joins, they don't see what was before they've joined, So, and I started noticing a trend of things coming up again and again and again. And so I wanted something where the women can access resources no matter when they join the group, or no matter when they need the resources. That saves a bit of time to me, that I don't have to keep repeating the same thing. We can add to the resources, we can adjust them as, maybe new research is coming or things like that. Plus, it is very accessible, and it still offers the community of other women where they can talk, together, and I've experienced that, I've done this, ask question each other, there are lots of questions recently, for example, about baby wearing, like what slings did you use, what slings work for you, and things like that. The anemia keeps coming back pretty much on monthly basis, a lot of questions around inductions and all these things. So I wanted to have a platform where I can keep resources to which people can refer, and also to offer more live sessions as well, and have somewhere where I can then keep the recordings and things like that, so that people who cannot join the live session can watch the recording, because as I said, I have women who come from all different time zones.
Yes.
So I must be honest that I do the lives when it works best for me, or maybe for women in the UK, but it might not work for other women. And then I also wanted to bring in like expert speakers. So once a month, we're having someone to come and talk to us about their specific area of interest. So we've got a nutritionist in the pipeline, acupuncturist who works with pregnant women and babies, reflexologist, sleep consultant, also baby wearing consultant, doula, hypnobirthing teacher. So all different topics that might be useful for the community. So again, these are live Zoom conversations where we have bit of discussion about the topic, and then Q&A. It's recorded, and then the women who don't manage to attend live can watch the recording. So
Okay, this is going to be just an amazing resource, Barbara, and I'm so pleased that you've come to talk to us about it, because I know that our audience is going to be really interested and finding out about more. So we will be pointing people to your website to find out more information and see how they can hook up with you, join your membership, and be part of this wonderful group. Thank you so much for sharing.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me.
Lovely. Speak to you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for going through everything that you're helping young mums with. It is such a pleasure to know that you are there, you are available, and you are able to help. Now, next week I'm going to be talking to Anne Lovett. Anne is one of our homeopaths on Homeopathy 24/7, and she has created a new ebook, an ebook about cell salts. It's a really good introduction to cell salts, and I'm very excited to be talking to her about some of those cell salts and how to use them to maximize immunity. I look forward to seeing you there. I do hope you've enjoyed these episodes, and I do hope you can subscribe to our channels. Now, there are various ways for you to listen to our podcast or watch it on video on YouTube. So whether it's iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, please do subscribe and please do leave us a review. If you leave us a review on these platforms, then more people will see our podcast. We just want more people to share the joy of homeopathy. It's a choice that everybody should know about. Please do everything you can to help us help more people.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to listening to our next one. Please don't forget to follow our podcast on your chosen channel, and please do leave us a review so we can continue to share homeopathy with as many people as possible. If you do have any questions, please do reach out to us on any of our social platforms mentioned in the show notes. We at Homeopathy 24/7 hope to empower you on your natural health journey.